Microstrategy posted on Tuesday Q4's earnings that blew past the average analyst estimate as the Michael Saylor-founded business intelligence company benefited from a huge rally in the price of Bitcoin during the quarter. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and let's start. Starting off with the huge news, as MicroStrategy purchased an extra 850 Bitcoin in January, spending $37 million, bringing their total Bitcoin holdings to 190,000 Bitcoins. Next up, big breaking news is Hong Kong first spot Bitcoin ETF approval in next 90 days, and that's huge. A lot of people have asked me how many shares to buy one Bitcoin with the ETFs. Here are my date based on today's Bitcoin held and shares outstanding for your reference. Grayscale's 1,119 shares for one Bitcoin, BlackRock 1,755 shares for one Bitcoin, and Fidelity is 1,109 shares for one Bitcoin. I hope it actually helps y'all out. Also, Build Asset Management CEO John Ruth testified to the Missouri House of Representatives today in support of HB 2107. HB 2107, if enacted, will outlaw the restriction or impairment of digital asset, Bitcoin, and etc., transactions, mining, and self-custody, among other things. And in total, 4 people testified in favor of the bill, including Dennis Porter of Satoshi Action Fund. 2 individuals testified in opposition of the bills, including a representative of the Sierra Club. Most of the supporting and opposing arguments were not surprising innovation, freedom, energy, grid stability, jobs arguments in support, environment, noise, energy use argument in opposition, but there was some nuanced discussion on the need for bills such as these. And if a state like Missouri already has laws that prohibit energy utilities from unduly discriminating against particular industries, for example, why do we need to carve out legislation for this particular industry? Would that lead to bloated legislation? John answered this point in his testimony. States like Missouri can lead by providing clarity and by getting in front of onerous legislation by the federal government, who may have a slight incentive to quash the further adoption of an extra-governmental monetary system. And overall, the presentation and discussion with members of Missouri House was productive and reasonably well informed by all the sides, and it is encouraging to see evidence of functioning democracy these days. Next up, MicroStrategy Q4 earnings aided by Bitcoin rally. MicroStrategy posted in Tuesday Q4's earnings that blew past average analyst estimate as Michael Saylor founded business intelligence company benefited from a huge rally in the price action during the quarter. And on top of that, we achieved double-digit subscription service revenue growth for both the fourth quarter and full year, demonstrating our ongoing commitment to transition our business to the cloud, said President and CEO Phong Le. As Q4 just EPS of $5.62 versus 21 cents average analyst estimate, compared with minus $8.98 in Q3 and minus $20.51 in the year ago quarter, and revenue of $124 million versus $132 million consensus fell from $129 million in Q3 and $132.6 million a year before. So MSTR slipped 1.2% in after hours trading, and total operating expenses rose to $139 million from $128 million in the prior quarter and dropped from $2,999.5 million in Q4 2022. As digital asset impairment losses, net of gains on sale, narrowed to $39.2 million from $197.6 million in Q4 2022. And as of December 31st, 2023, the carrying value of the company's Bitcoin stash, comprising about 189,150 Bitcoin, was $3.6 billion, and now it's 190,000, we already know. So that reflects cumulative impairment losses of $2.2 billion since the acquisition, and an average carrying amount per Bitcoin of minus $19,172. Conference call at 5 p.m. ET, as we already got the news that MicroStrategy bought 850 more Bitcoin. Bitcoin prepares for the next halving cycle potential market impact. As the pioneering cryptocurrency Bitcoin is gearing up to enter its next halving cycle this April. Halving cycles are typically seen as a bullish phenomenon because they reduce the rate at which new cryptocurrencies are created, subsequently decreasing supply and increased demand. Analysts predict that the upcoming halving event for Bitcoin will create a ripple effect of bullish sentiment in the cryptocurrency market, and this fluctuation could also encompass other cryptocurrencies like Shiba Inu and potentially ignite the rise of their price. So, expected growth trajectory. Analysts are setting ambitious targets for Bitcoin, with many forecasting that the cryptocurrency will reach an all-time high of 500,000, as this optimism stems from the approval of 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs by the SEC. As in January, the halving event in April. Such factors are poised to inject significant momentum into the market and propel Bitcoin to unprecedented highs. And according to the widely used AI chatbot ChatGPT, if Bitcoin reaches 500k, the price of Shiba Inu could potentially skyrocket to a range between 2 digits with 3 zeros and 5 digits with 3 zeros, as reaching 5 digits with 3 zeros from current level would represent an astonishing growth of 5,500%. So let's go for more. What do we have here? As BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF inflows climbed to 5th highest among all the ETFs in 2024. Fidelity Spot ETF also garnered a ranking in top 10 of fund inflows so far this year, and only 17 days after its launch, the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust has become one of the top 5 exchange-traded funds of 2024 based on inflows, according to data from Bloomberg Intelligence. And the only funds that have topped IBEAT's $3.2 billion of year-to-date inflow are Mammoth's long-standing index ETFs from iShares and Vanguard that offer exposure to the S&P 500 or the total stock market, and in the number one spot with $13 billion in inflows thus far this year is the iShares Core of S&P 500 ETF, which was whooping $428 billion in assets under management. Number 2 with $11.1 billion in inflows is Vanguard 500 Index Fund ETF, which has nearly $400 billion in AUM, as also earning a spot in the top 10 ETF asset gathered this year is Fidelity's Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, whose $2.7 billion of inflows places its 8th on the list. And while those are impressive achievements for new funds, overall investment into all of the new spot Bitcoin ETFs has slowed in recent days, as BlackRock's IBEAT and Fidelity FBTC, however, remain the only 2 funds that have continuously seen positive flows since going on the market. Let's go for more, as basically cryptocurrency warning from the US Secretary Yellen, but be careful of these risks. So US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is preparing to warn Congress about the potential dangers as the crypto industry possessed to the financial system. Their concerns include the dangers of stablecoins, work on crypto platforms, and volatile prices. As Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen highlights crypto risks in congressional testimony, and Yellen will appear before the House Financial Service Committee to discuss the latest work of the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which consists of the heads of the US financial institutions she leads. And aiming to prevent the next financial crisis, the FCOC has been paying special attention to crypto risks in recent years, as listing them at the top of categories of potential concerns. So that's all the information we got on the Bitcoin so far. If you're interested in more, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next one, and peace.